this iconic bridge is popular with photographers and with tourists as well. I'm going to try and find some creative ways though of capturing it on my smartphone. From this angle, I'm looking at this huge bridge and I'm thinking there's a lot to squeeze into the frame here. So my default lens, and I've got 3 different lenses on this phone, my default lens is my wide-angled lens to try and squeeze it all in. What that's actually kind of done is, well, I'm fitting a lot of the bridge into my shot now, but it's not really beautiful. It's given me this interesting but somewhat warped perspective of this first span over the river here. And, I can angle up and maybe that will work. I don't really know, but I'm not convinced that's going to be a successful shot. So let's have a look at what the other lenses give me. So this is my kind of standard 1x zoom on here, and again I'm a little bit tighter in. I've lost some of this span expanse here. Maybe if I just angle and have the vertical of this tower kind of on the leftmost third. So while it kind of works, I think there's a more creative and compositionally pleasing image that we can get. So if I take a couple of steps to my right, we've got this lamp post here. Framing up, now on a 1x lens, it actually looks like a distraction. Surely my focus is on the bridge, not on this lamp post. It looks a little bit messy, but deploying my final lens here, the 2x lens, this is where it all starts to come together. I've got my foreground interest, and this lamppost seems to complement the bridge in the background. It's got this kind of gold crown on top, just like the main tower of the bridge there has. And they're both sitting nicely on the thirds. So even though I'm on a tighter zoom lens here, I'm still getting the picture of this bridge. I've still got the tower. I've still got this first span here and this lovely kind of smiling line here. And I've got this foreground interest as well. So it pays just to look at what tools you've got, your lenses on your phone, and just to think, even when you're taking a big kind of urban landscape theme like this bridge, not just to think about the background, but to think about the foreground as well. Really excited by how this one is going to come out. So we've got a few different angles on this bridge. We've got the wide one, we've got the standard one, and then we've thought about the foreground and the background. Let's see which ones we're happiest with. With the wide-angled lens on my camera, I've got an awful lot into this shot. I've got an awful lot of the bridge, but sadly for me, I think I've got an awful lot of distraction and clutter as well, and not in a pleasing way. I quite like this triangle of the first span of the bridge, and I like how the light is hitting the metalwork underneath it, but there are far too many other distractions in there for this to be a successful composition for me, I'm afraid. With my camera's standard 1x lens, I picked this one out, and I quite like what I've done here in some ways, again using this strong line of the bridge. I've made a lot of the sky here. There's probably as much sky as there is bridge. So while it kind of works as a shot, I think there's a more creative way of telling the story of this bridge. Just by taking a couple of steps to the side and finding this piece of foreground, I've come up with this shot. I've also punched in even more to my 2x zoom lens, and that's enabled me to focus on a particular detail of the bridge and bring in this foreground element. And again, using the standard compositional rules there, I think this has worked really, really nicely. We've got these lovely lines and shapes that tell their own story. And also, I have to say, the light here is absolutely sublime. It's the low winter's sun that really brings to life the metalwork on the bridge there. And all of these elements combine to really show that using the foreground and the background, picking your composition, picking the lens that you have at your disposal can really make a difference and turn an all right shot into something that's really interesting.